Wagon, ute. Should I chop my wagon to a ute? We're about to run through all the pros and cons of both, see which one's which. Okay, so down at Raslar today, and we're going to compare the Y62 wagons, mine, versus Rob from Roslar, I can't even say his name properly. Rob from Raslar's Y62, which has been chopped. So this was done for the fall drive show at Melbourne this year, 2023.
Yep.
Look bloody awesome, and dead set. Soon as he sent me a couple of photos before the show, and I was like, cool, when's mine get done? And he still doesn't give me a date. Rob, when are we doing it?
Steve's knees went weak as I drove into the show.
Absolutely. All right, so I put up on Instagram a little questionnaire thing the other week about what do you guys want to know about the conversions. So we're going to go through some of that stuff very soon. But first off, we're just going to sort of look at the aesthetics of the cars and just sort of see. Obviously, this is a very personal opinion on what you think is going to look better or worse. I'm a massive fan of both of them, but I think that just looks super tough overall. What do you think of? Like,
oh look, I own one of each and I love them both. This one, I never said it, I just wanted to chop one to do it to show people, and I have quite fallen in love. I never wanted one, so it's sort of caught me a bit by surprise, and I guess I want it for work type guy. I don't want it for camping. I want to be able to put pallets in the back and when I go car racing, put wheels, and I'm always got dirty stuff. So me and you are obviously you're a hardcore camper. I'm a hardcore, like it's work ute.
He clearly works more than I do.
And that's I guess one of the cool things about what they both are. Like, you know, like you were saying before, you can put a canopy on it and make it a camping thing, or it can be a work ute. It's probably, there's things that are versatile on this, but then there's pros and cons to both. Like, you know, your stuff's always going to be nice and dry and warm and
not dusty,
depending on who does your canopy, I guess. But
true.
You know, all those things. So there's pros and cons. The biggest thing I think that has caught everyone off guard is the size of the tray. Like, everyone thinks you get no tray, and everyone that sees it's like, oh shit, that's a lot more than what I thought. So that'd be an interesting thing. I'm keen, like when we weighed them, we were both like, not what we thought. And then I'm keen to see how big that is in the back, because I've never done it. Like, we just built it because I wanted to perfect a few things, and I didn't want the pressure of it being someone else's. I'm like, it'll just be mine and I'll make it how I want it to be.
Yeah.
And to see, you know, let's compare them.
So let's run through the aesthetics of the tray and stuff first. So obviously you designed all this tray and stuff yourself in-house.
Yep. So Aaron drew all that all literally in a couple of days' notice to the show, because we were just going to take it as a cab chassis. I guess the car evolved from when we did the triple hoop bar. We wanted a white car, because on my blue car you can't see any of the bar work. Everything's dark blue and it just looks the same. So we're like, oh, let's put it on a white car. Oh, it'd be cool if it was a chopped car. Let's take it as a cab chassis, and then it just all of a sudden we'd built a tray. So it was something we always wanted to do. It just forced us to get it done.
Yeah. So obviously lots of details between the white and the black, and the way the handles are done. That headboard follows the cab shape nicely.
Yep. And interestingly, the headboard's a folded thing, and that was purely the fuel fillers in the other side, but when they're RHS, I couldn't get the breather close enough to be able to get them to fill properly. Now this has had about 4 different fillers on it, and it's about to get another one, and the one we just did this week, I can fill that like a normal car, which sounds so simple, but it's something that's taken a lot of breathing and different things to get right. The folded headboard allows you to do stuff inside. The other one we've just done also, it's got a water tank in here, and because this is hollow, it just opens you up to a lot more things you can do in the headboard. We'd like to do a little toolbox and stuff in here as well. So that was the reason we wanted that to be folded.
Yeah, nice. All right, so I think just lines wise, like obviously even your tail lights and stuff, how they sort of rake up, I reckon I like it. I'm a fan, clearly, but just like little details like that. Obviously, all the sensors and stuff, all the factory
Everything
stuff.
works. You've got your blind spot things. They work like as per normal. Your parking sensors work per normal. Yeah, I'm surprised how well everything does work. You know, yeah, all your tech and that works exactly the same. Like factory camera is still in under the back. Even on the one we've just done, that's TIL. We did a 3D printed replica of the original camera in the back window, so it just goes back in the back window how it was. So all those little things still just work, you know, and that's why we wanted to be able to have a car to play with. You know, we've pulled this one back apart 2 or 3 times to have a tinker with things and try to do things differently. So wanted it to be spot on.
Nice. All right, so it's obviously this is all opinion and stuff about how we think the car looks. Little obviously other stuff like the flares and stuff, I reckon they look super tough. The way they sort of stick out nicely there, sort of matches in with the factory, not the factory flare, the aftermarket flares.
The one we just did, we painted this white, and I'm spewing it was supposed to be here today, but it's not. And we've made a 3D printed cap for the flare, and with it all, that one
just looks like
it ties it in.
Oh, I'll try and get a photo and chuck it up on here while we're doing it. So when that comes
done next week.
when that comes back. All right. One of the other questions that you guys kept asking was what's the interior finish look like for the inside of the cars now? Obviously, because it's fairly heavily modified, how does it get finished inside? Is it any good? Does it look horrible? So we're just literally going to show you what it looks like on the inside. So, so that's following the cab?
So, no, there's actually a cavity in there because you got to retain a lot of wiring and a lot of things, and there's a lot of modules and just quite bulky items, so they're all hidden behind that, so you can't damage them. We don't like to get rid of plugs or anything. The idea is if you have a drama ever, you can lay your loom out and you know exactly what everything was. There's also a lot of stuff you've got to confuse the car into thinking it still has a back door. There's resistors, there's lots of little things you have to do to make the car happy again. So, and they're all housed in that little box. This big bit is actually a carpet wrapped ply board, so you can screw to it and all that sort of stuff. Same in a TIL, you've got your amp, and there's lots of other things that all get housed in there. So this, you know, if you want to mount stuff to it, one, timber shuts up all the noise, but 2, you can literally just tech screw straight to the back.
Yeah, so like inverters, battery setup for inside the car could go straight in there overall.
This one's a carpet wrap board up the top, so it gives you a nice rolled edge everywhere.
Yeah.
Another thing we do, we make the cabin a smidge bigger, because if you've ever had one of these cars, you know just like where this goes to.
That was one of the other questions.
Isn't quite comfortable.
To. Yeah.
You need to have one more click.
Yeah.
So I made it. It is literally the click.
Yeah.
I wanted the cabin. I wanted as much chute as I could have, but I know it's really, really crap to sit in without that.
So just as an example, then, do you want to sit in there just so we can sort of see
It's only a little difference, but by God, it's a big difference when you're like that.
Yeah, so you can actually sit back.
Is monstrous.
Yeah.
This is 79 series. This is Patrol.
Even actually for baby seats and stuff. So I've got two young kids. You know, I have to have the seats put back ever so slightly for the seats to sit properly in the car. For me, that's the way I put them in. I don't know why.
I've only got 8 kids, so I've got a rough idea on those things, which is why we have a Patrol, because the 300 we really struggled with this, and as I've got big kids as well.
Tons of room.
Yeah, and that's where I sit. Now I'm not I'm not a huge person, but like, you know, you would be a dot further back, but like, man, these things are cool.
Yeah, well, I can sit in the back of my Patrol with my seat where I go, so yeah, anyway, we're not trying to sell the car. Okay, so one of the other big questions that you guys were asking was the overall dimensions of the cars and the overhang of a tray, because this obviously isn't a chassis extended car, this is just factory chassis, reinforced and braced, which we'll go through soon. Everyone always seems to think these have a massive overhang from the back. So Rob has put a lot of time and effort into this one. So explain how you've done this and why it works.
Well, look, I mean, the tray, this is as big as it can be. When you go to engineer it, there's a proportion, like your wheelbase, you're only allowed a certain percentage of that over the back. Now, that is where this comes in, like that's as big as you can go. However, look, Patrols have got a really good percentage as well, because they're a big car, but everyone thinks there's way more overhang than what you've got on a normal car. And as you can see, like I've got just a stock standard Nissan tow bar. which is what I replicated my rebar off. Is we went up a little bit, but the distance is exactly the same. Standard hitch, you're level. What blows most people away is when you've got your wheel on the back and everything, you're level. So both cars are absolute, like if you park them at Safeway, they are exactly the same. As I said, I have one with the rebar exactly like this, and I have one exactly like that. They are identical.
Yeah, cool. Alright, so that's the overall dimensions myth sort of busted. And anyone who tries to park these things at Safeway, you know that you don't fit in car parks anyway, so don't go. They're just long, whether that be factory or aftermarket. Usable space in the tray versus usable space in the back of the car. So obviously this is going to be slightly different because mine's set up with drawers, a fridge and some other stuff inside there. So it's different type of usable space versus a canopy or a tray, which could have a canopy down the track as well. There's different aspects there. So we haven't actually measured this yet. We're literally doing this as we film it. So we're going to figure it out.
So how you, like, you know, and like we said, both cars have got pros and cons. I love a wagon, and I think this is cool. And if you're camping, this has got so much going for it. And it's just trying to give you an idea of both. Now, you've got a lot of storage there. Obviously, we've got a lot of storage before you start under the tray. So you've got, you know, a big drawer under here, it's full of all my crap. And then you've got the boxes on the side, which are also very, like, they're huge. So you can have all your scraps, your knickknacks, and all your crap in there. As far as size, I'm the most excited to measure this bit. Take a look. So, I guess we go to here. Yeah. So touching the back of your seat, you're at 1.50 m.
Yep.
So I already know my tray's 1500, so you're there. The 1500 includes the headboard, which is 75 mil. If you are having a permanent canopy, you wouldn't normally run a headboard. So depending on how you want to put that, that's your difference.
Yeah. So we're talking about 500 mil difference.
Yeah.
Approximately. And then obviously we're restricted for height inside a cabin, which is about 1 metre from memory. So width wise, so internal width, we've got 1250 for internal width versus, Bob just likes to show off how big his is. 2 metres for the width of the canopy. And that doesn't stick out heaps from the side of the car. Like looking down the side of the car here, it's still well within the mirrors. Okay, he doesn't even know his own measurement. But all right, we'll even look from the front of the car. So from there, looking down, like that doesn't stick out at all. It looks well in proportion to the overall size of the car. I don't think canopies should be bang on with the body anyway. I don't think they look very nice that way. So I think having that slight step, and even with the height, I think they should always be slightly taller than what the roof of the car is. So it looks like it's a tiered effect going up. And height-wise for internal there? 850-ish versus whatever you want there, pretty much, if it's just a thing.
I reckon that'd be much the same.
But there's a canopy.
Like 920 or something.
Yeah, so
muchness.
Extra 50 mil if you've got a canopy on there, otherwise it's open air for the rest of it. So, 2 metre by 1500.
But that is
that includes the headboard.
Yeah. So there. But obviously, if you're going to go, normally when you go permanent canopy, you get rid of that and just have short tray sides. Otherwise, you're sacrificing 75 to 100 mil for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you may as well.
But for overall storage and stuff as well, which is, this will sort of get touched on a bit later with the weight side of it. It means you can relocate stuff to different spots. So you could have a water tank in your headboard, or an extra fuel tank in your headboard. Or
there's also still that much room, you know, in front of your drawer. So you can actually have the water tank
underneath. Yeah.
And I've actually, mine, we were weighing it before to, well, it's spare, but like my standard wheel still goes underneath. Like, so I just keep it in the standard spot. My pet hate is having all this room and destroying it with a bloody tyre. Like, so, you know, over 35 under there, I do you deflated a bit and put it in there. Yeah. Yeah, like, and then you've still got full usable space. So obviously pros and cons to that.
Yeah, pros and cons to everything. Yeah. But you could almost go the whole hog if you wanted to mount batteries and stuff under there and sort of try and utilise as much space as you could.
Draw, like there's space bloody everywhere. Like,
there's heaps
the
under
whole cavity in front of the drawer. Like,
yeah.
You got 300 mil in front of the drawer because the draw's 500.
Yeah, nice. All right, so that's huge. Alright, so I think overall space-wise, I think definitely the canopies, I keep saying canopy, the tray has still definitely got it, purely because that's sort of there. This does increase the overall length of there, because of the tyre hangs off the back, it's pretty much gaining all that space that you're losing in your tyre. So when are we doing mine? Okay, so time for I always do that on the first one. Okay, time for the big one that all you guys are asking about was the weights and the GVMs and all the axle loads for this sort of stuff. So we're not going to go into heaps and heaps of detail because we're not the engineers to do this. I'm a cabinet maker who does YouTube, and Rob does trays and canopies and bull bars.
I weld stuff.
He welds stuff. I glue timber together, you glue metal together.
Yeah.
So alright.
Do we make an emphasis? We're not trying to say one's light or one's better or one's, but just everyone asks, and it's something we both were.
I'm surprised.
We both giggled when we weighed the cars because we're like, not what we expected.
Absolutely not.
And the cool thing was both our cars have got, obviously my front bar, mine's got the triple hoop, which is only like a matter of kilos different. We've both got winches, we've both got the same sliders. So the fronts of our cars we've both got 35s, we've both got all that. We're very similar, aren't we? Both got the same Andrews GVM in these cars, both got billet arms, so like the cars themselves are a really good comparison between the two. Where it changes is in the bum. Now, I've got a factory tow bar, we weighed them before, with a tongue and everything, they're around 25 kilos. I actually have got multiple brands and they went from 20 to 25 kilos, depending on if it's a Heyman Reese, a genuine Nissan, whether you got a forged hitched, a hollow hitch, so let's say 25. I know because I make them. The rear bars are just over 100 depending on your hitch. So you're roughly 75 kilos of bar and carriers over mine. So we as running through, we're 75 kilos, righto. You've got a roof rack, you've got drawers that I think you've made yourself, yeah? Yep. You've got the fridge, you've got a cargo barrier, and long range tank. Now you've got, not only do you have a heavier fuel tank, you've got a lot more fuel capacity than me. So I'm full, you're full, but you're fuller. So yeah,
I get to go further.
Yeah, so we've both got aftermarket exhausts, all those things. So your car we know is going to be a lot heavier than my car.
Yep.
The surprise was how much this one weighed.
Yep.
Now look, mine's just a tray. I've got a few bits of crap as we saw floating around. Mine's an empty carcass, but it gives you an idea of this is pretty much the same as a standard car. I think we worked out.
Yep.
So this was 3050 total, and yours was 3.5 roughly.
Yep.
Yeah, total.
Yep.
What was really cool is we actually got my scales and just did the rear axle load and realised, like what we thought, it was 100% just the rear axle difference. Everything he's got extra, as you would think, he's on the back.
Yep.
So mine was
3450. Just 3450. Bloody hell, 1450.
1450 as it sits now. Now we didn't have my spare in, which we weighed was 42 kilos.
So we call that 1500.
Call it 1500.
Okay, so for the sake of trying to keep things uniform, Wade Rob's car showed it a second ago, so now we're going to re-weigh my car, so it's on the same scale, same spot, so that way there's no discrepancies between my scales and Rob's scales. And it's kind of cool that Razor even has this sort of stuff. It just sort of shows the development that they put into some of their gear, that they have this to do it.
And
mine was more. Mine was, we'll just go with more. So it was closer to the 2 ton mark, which is still well within
when he says closer, it was 2 kilos off 2 ton. But
semantics, people.
Yeah. Look, you panicked at that, but then we said, look, we added it up. You go 75 kilos. Yep. You go how much fuel and tank you've got, how much is in your drawers. You're pretty much ready, bar throwing in a sleeping bag or whatever, you're ready to go away.
Yep, exactly.
You've still got plenty of GVM, and you've still got enough to put a caravan on and all that, and you've got everything. So that's still awesome. You've got a GVM and you've got a car that is ready to go camping and very usable. Yes, you're getting at that top end. And you probably didn't have as much as you thought, but you're still well and truly good. But
well, I think the axle load on these GVMs is about 2350, 2400-ish, somewhere there. So I've still got another 350, 400 kilo quite easily that I can add onto the rear axle alone, and I'm pushing the limit of it, but I'm getting there. But that's the car, as Rob was saying, the car ready to go away. Like, fridge has got stuff in it. All my cooking stuff is already in the drawers, plates, saucepans, induction cooker, battery, everything is in the car already. Where Rob's car's, as much as he's done all this stuff, but it's still pretty much empty.
Yeah,
Like,
so
there's no battery, there's
what
no...
you said was 2450. So if my car had passengers in it, which they work them out at 68 kilos per person. If I
I'm two people.
That's the allowance of average. So technically this has got 780 kilos of load carrying with 5 passengers.
Yeah.
As it sits, which is...
Yeah, and that's on the rear.
On the left in the rear, yeah. So this has got that much payload with 5 people. Obviously if you deduct a couple, that's going to change it, but you know, for me, you can have half a ton in it, be towing your big caravan and have your wife and your kids and you're there, which is cool for a non-extended car. Still, like mine and your car are the same car.
Yep, exactly right. But that's like a proper ute though. Like you actually use it to carry some weight.
It's for me, it's a tradie ute. I'm using it. Look at it. It's banked out.
It's a very fancy tradie ute.
Well, it's cool, but then you know, like the cool thing is, I go up the bush and follow my kids on their motorbike or whatever. Like I use it. I've found it really handy for that. But then we're lucky. We've got one like that for, you know, other things. So I'm lucky. I got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I think that's going to be most of the detail covered, hopefully, apart from maybe price. So what's it?
Look,
sort of
it depends what accessories you get, but like if you're not doing chassis extensions, it's obviously a lot cheaper than the big build ones. You know, something like this is mid-30s to get to sort of this.
Yeah.
Do
you do the chassis extensions as well, or not?
Not really.
Not something you get into.
Oh, not something. Yeah.
Okay, so don't ask. So don't ask.
Yeah.
Happy days. All right. So in the comments down below, if you've got any other questions about the cars, obviously both Rob and I will check through the comments, and if you've got questions, we'll answer them. Let us know though. Ute or wagon? Which do you prefer, and which would you want to go with? I'm still asking. When's mine booked in?
When your wife says you're allowed to.
Shh. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.